So welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking Today. Hi, welcome to Cooking Today. Happy holidays. Isn't this such a fun season? Oh my goodness. I mean, I feel like I just wait all year round for Christmas cooking and baking and treats and fun days in the kitchen and peppermint. I absolutely love peppermint. You know how pumpkin is kind of belongs to October and November and peppermint just really belongs to December? It is peppermint season. We are making some of my favorite. I hear something I need to check on. I am making some of my favorite peppermint treats today. One, we're going to start with peppermint white chocolate popcorn that has our Mars treats in it. We're using their peppermint bark, their little dove squares. We're using those fun M&M like little baby baking bits because they're so good. And then I'm using some crushed peppermint. You know, the good ones that are kind of powdery and old-fashioned. Have crushed those. We're going to toss it all in with some sprinkles and our popcorn, and that'll be a good little munchie or a treat that you can give. And then we are going to make some amazing, rich, over-the-top peppermint white chocolate mochas at home using our Dove peppermint bark squares and our West Rock coffee and all kinds of good things. Y'all are not going to believe how delicious. It's like peppermint treat day here today. So I'm going old school. I'm going to go old school on my popcorn. We are going to do it on the stove, okay? What I have actually a pretty good size metal Dutch oven, like a stainless steel pot. And I have got to be so careful that these don't just pop right up on me. And I have 3 tablespoons of, gotta get it covered. I have 3 tablespoons of canola oil in the bottom of my pot. And then I have a half a cup of just unpopped kernels, popcorn. And what I did is I preheated, oh, we're already going, y'all. Preheated my oil with the lid on, so it's nice and hot, okay? And then I keep my lid partly cracked, and you gotta move it. So we're gonna jiggle on TV today and make our popcorn. Ready? So, we want that to get going. You want to keep your lid where there's a little bit of steam that escapes. And swirl, swirl, swirl. My mom used to make it like this. We used to do that Jiffy Pop. Do you remember how fun Jiffy Pop was? Remember that? And it was like in foil, and you could like watch it pop up, and it would bust open, and steam would escape, and it was so good. Delish. Okay, look at this. This is the old-fashioned way to do it, y'all, and it's fun to do with your kids this way. And I'll tell you another thing. A kernel just totally jumped out underneath my arm. They're like bullets, like little hot bullets. Got to keep it moving. Making your popcorn like this on the stove, there are no preservatives in that whatsoever. There's not a lot of extra grease or oil or salt or anything like that that you don't want that you get in your microwaves. Now I'll tell you, if you're in a hurry, use your microwave popcorn, that's just fine. Woo! But this is the way that I like to do it. It's old-fashioned. I feel like I'm screaming. Am I screaming at y'all? Because I'm making so much racket. Okay, it's so hot and we're almost done that I'm picking it up off the heat and shaking it. I'll tell you, one of the things that you don't want to do is overcook it. We all know right this second, you can even pull it in your mind or taste it in your mouth or smell it in your nose. Burned popcorn's the worst, isn't it? So you want to be sure, I'm making sure one doesn't pop out on me when I lift that lid. I mean, it could happen right here. It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye, right? Okay. I'm scared. Okay, so I'm going to protect myself. Make your popcorn on the stovetop. It's really, really fun. This is a 4-quart, about a 4.5-quart Dutch oven to get this many cups of popcorn. This is about probably 8 or 9 cups of popcorn, okay? So what I have now is a big old sheet pan, and I've let my popcorn pop. You would rather have unpopped kernels in the bottom than to wait and let every single kernel pop and then end up with burned popcorn, you know, the pieces that have already popped. So here's what I do. I lay it out on a sheet pan like that. That's hot. And then I'm gonna give it a little shake, and you can hear all the kernels go to the bottom when you give it a little shake like this. And then I'm gonna let this cool for just a minute. And then with my hands, I'm just gonna scoop it into a big bowl and leave all the kernels on the bottom, because there's nothing like eating good old popcorn, and you're gonna love this. It's all chocolatey and pepperminty and creamy and delicious. And then you bite into a kernel. It's just bad news, and that's no fun. So we're gonna scoop out all of the good tender popcorn bites, leave the kernels in the bottom, throw them out, and then we are going to coat this in some of the best stuff ever. Come back, this is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We are having like a peppermint field trip day today. All things peppermint white chocolate, peppermint white mocha, you name it. It's such a signature flavor of the season, isn't it? So good. Like, you know, like coffee shops used to, they would only like have, well, they may still, peppermint like would kind of make its appearance. I would get so excited when I knew I could go, you know, to my coffee shops and get peppermint white mochas. I love those. Now I think they're starting to either back it way up where it's starting to come out super early in the fall, or they're offering it year round, which doesn't make it very special. This is special and delicious. We are making this peppermint white chocolate popcorn with some of the most fun little mix-ins to go inside of it. And then we're gonna make our mochas, our at-home peppermint white mochas at the end. Okay, so I have just put in the microwave 6 squares of just regular old like vanilla almond bark it's basically a half of a block. I have popped our popcorn, and it comes out to be about 8 or 9 cups the way that we did it. 3 tablespoons of oil and a cup of kernels, unpopped kernels, in no smaller than about a 4.5 quart pan with a lid. If you have a stock pot, you know, a lot of us have like those big old stock pots that we're never quite sure what to do with them. You could even do it in that. More room is better than not enough room, because if this had popped over, that would have been something else, right? So make sure you have more room than not. So I laid out my popcorn already on my sheet pan, gave it a good shake so all the kernels fall to the bottom. Then I just used my hands to pick up like the light, you know, popped kernels off the top. And now we have virtually kernel-free corn. Okay, so I'm laying it back out on my sheet pan. And then I usually do my peppermint bark, or not my peppermint bark, my almond bark, about a minute, stop it, do it another minute, and then you usually can stir it, and it's totally good to go. So while that is finishing up, let me tell you what we're gonna do with our popcorn. Clean my board off. I have already gone ahead and cut up the little peppermint, the Dove peppermint barks squares. They come in the bag like the other Dove chocolates. This is heavenly, y'all. Oh my stars. They're really, really good. What I have is about a cup or so, minus probably me eating one. I don't know, a couple of pinches. You have to kind of make up for the nibbling when you do all this. And then I have a cup of the M&Ms baking bits. They're just these little bitty babies. And then, like I said, I have about 3/4 of a cup of, you know, the old-fashioned like powdery peppermints, not the hard ones that are like the Starlight mints that you know, get at, you know, fast food restaurants, but like the powdery ones that usually you can only find kind of around the holiday. Well, I put those in a doubled up Ziploc, doubled up so that when I started to pound it like crazy, it didn't bust open the bag and go everywhere. So I gave myself a little extra backup. I'm changing my mind. I think I'm gonna go ahead because I've popped a little more popcorn than my sheet pan will hold. I'm gonna put it back in my bowl. That would make a mess for y'all to look at, and we don't need to see that. So I'm gonna put this back in my bowl before I toss it. So I've got my peppermints that I have pounded up. My white chocolate went in the microwave for like 2 minutes on 2 separate 1-minute cycles. If you do 2 minutes all together without a little break, sometimes I feel like it kind of seizes up and it's just not as smooth. So take the time to do 1 minute and then a little break and then another minute. I may have popped more popcorn than I told you since I was so efficient with my kernels. Okay, so peppermint yummy layer number 1. Here's our white chocolate that is so smooth and good. My 3/4 of a cup of crushed peppermint, it's going in. Look at that. Look at there. I could eat that with a spoon. Could you eat that with a spoon or dip a pretzel in it? Oh, brother. About to put it on our popcorn, but okay. So it makes it a little bit gritty. What I was gonna do that I backed off on here was put my popcorn on my sheet pan and then drizzle it and then toss it. But as soon as I started thinking about it, I'm like, that is the worst idea ever because that's gonna go everywhere off that sheet pan. So we're gonna just do it this way instead. So put this in our popcorn while it's hot. And you have to move very quickly. This is very important because everything has to be chopped and ready to go because you have to work while this is very hot. So what I'm gonna do is toss this popcorn in this carefully. And then we're gonna spread it out on our sheet pan and then we're gonna top it with our mix-ins. It's awesome, y'all are gonna love this. Come back and I'll show you what it looks like. This is cooking today.
Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton.
Hi, welcome back. We are making peppermint fun things today for the holiday season. We have coated our popcorn in white chocolate that is just infiltrated and yummy and delicious with powdered crushed peppermint. Then I stirred it up in my bowl, and I'm gonna be straight up honest. It's kind of clumpy. You have to work very quickly. I kind of got in there with a spoon in one hand and my hand in the other and just kind of got messy and just kind of worked it in so that all the popcorn has got a good, nice coating on it, and it's got that little pink speckle of peppermint. You want to let this be sticky, like it's still sticky, like it's on my finger, but it's not hot. That is important because we're about to pour on about a cup, 3/4 of a cup of M&Ms. Oh, that sounds like jingles. Listen, listen. Sound like sleigh bells a little bit, like Santa? Come on now, it does a little bit. Doesn't it a little bit, Timmy? I always can count on my little cameraman there to give me some credit when I think I'm funny. Okay, so we jingle belled some little baby M&Ms onto our not hot but not cooled off white chocolate popcorn here. Then for the level that is like over the top, we have about 3/4 to a quarter of or about a cup of the chopped up Dove peppermint dark chocolate squares. Oh boy. Now the reason that we don't want that to be too hot is because we want it to be able to stick a little bit, but we don't want it to melt. So I am gonna do my fingers and give it just a little bit of a press so it kind of sticks to whatever it's touching. This is not a clean snack. This is like the kind where you're gonna eat it after it cools even, and you're gonna get a little nibble here and a little there, and your fingers may get a little bit chocolatey, but it is Christmas, and that is part of it, right? So this is done. It's gonna just sit for just a little bit. If you wanted to add like some chunky sea salt to that or like some kosher salt, you could do that if you want that little bite of salt in there. I'm straight up sweet today. I'm just in the sweet camp. Now I have my small, we're gonna move on. These are our white chocolate mochas, y'all. I have my little enameled pitcher boat warmer. This is from M&Ms. We've used it like crazy on here. I think even like in the first 1 or 2 episodes, I used that to make some kind of sauce and warm something up. So we have a cup of whole milk, a half a cup of cream, and then I have brewed about 3/4 of a cup, which is a little much. Let's go to about a half a cup. About a half a cup of strong brewed West Rock coffee. I think this one was East African blend, maybe, just something that's got a really good strong coffee flavor. And it's hot. And so we're gonna add this to our milks. And this is actually gonna make 2 beautiful cups of white chocolate mocha. Deliciousness. It's so good. So, oh, my stars. Look, I had some sprinkles. Hang on. Before this gets too set up, I just had some little fun sprinkles. Some of them look like snowflakes, and the other ones are just like little, you know, red and green happy things. So we're just going to put those on too. I told you it was a mess. Look. It's like excessive. I'm going excessive here. All of it. Isn't that so fun? Okay. Sorry, one more layer of sugar. So we've got our cream, milk, and coffee over medium heat. And I am going to watch this because it's going to, we want it to start to get a little bit of a boil on it. Your milk will scald, so you don't want to do that. But, you know, you do want it to get warm enough because we're about to add in a handful of these peppermint bark squares that I said they're so good. They're dark chocolate on the bottom and they're peppermint bark on the top. And they always have that happy little thing here. Look, holiday cheer begins here. Right here in this kitchen, holiday cheer. So while that is getting nice and warm to melt our chocolate, I'm gonna unwrap these. I played a little bit with the recipe on these, like how many I wanted it to, you know, how much I wanted it to be, you know, how chocolatey or whatever. And so I decided for this recipe, I like about 6 or 8 of these squares. They're really good. You could do more if you wanted it even richer. And you want to let them chop down pretty far. You want to, you know, spend a little time on them because the smaller they are, the quicker they're going to melt, and we kind of need them to go ahead and get melted. And then all we're going to do to this is when that milk gets warm, we're going to stir these in with a couple of tablespoons of sugar and let it, like, reduce it to a simmer and just let it cook and kind of simmer. And it starts kind of a milky color. And then as this chocolate melts and it gets a little darker, y'all, it's amazing. It gets this beautiful color that you are going to absolutely love. And then I have the most fun little something we're going to top these with. I cannot wait for you to see. I'm going to chop these chocolates and stir them in. Come back. This is Cooking Today.
Candy sponsored by Mars.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We are just wrapping up a really fun peppermint treats kind of day to celebrate the holiday season. We have delicious white chocolate popcorn that has peppermint pounded up in it, and it's covered in all kinds of good little Mars treats like those little Dove white chocolate, or they're actually like dark chocolate peppermint squares. So good. Some little baby M&Ms, some sprinkles, you name it. We just kind of made it really fun. It is cooling, and we don't want it to be sticky at all. We just want to be able to get in there and kind of break it up, put it in a bowl, tie it off in cute little bags for treats, put it in jars. You know how I love a jar with a cute lid and a little ribbon around the neck. And you've got some really great little treats. Easy to make with your kids. That's a great one, y'all. Then I made these amazing white chocolate mochas, peppermint white chocolate mochas. And what this was milk, cream, the Dove peppermint bark little squares. Oh boy, some sugar. We just let that cook down really, really nice and get a pretty dark color. West Rock coffee to give it that mocha flavor in there. It's like homemade, real hot chocolate, the real thing, but better. And then look, let's do some fun things. Let's do a couple of little chocolates on this side. And then when I had some little bit of my white chocolate melted for this, look what you can do. You can take your marshmallows, dip them in that warm, melted white chocolate, and then dip it in those little peppermint powders. And look how fun these are, right in the top. And then peppermint sticks for a little extra stir. How fun are these? Peppermint white chocolate mochas with our West Rock coffee, and then our crazy Mars candy. Delicious peppermint. I hope you'll try these at home. Love every bite. This is cooking today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company. Kitchenware is provided by M&Ms. Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton. Candy, sponsored by Mars.